Hello, everyone. Welcome to one more podcast for the Athletic School. Today, I bring two guests again, Gustavo Heidrich, that you guys are familiar with, and Ricardo, that I believe Ricardo was in the podcast in the Portuguese version. I don't think we did one in English, right?
Yeah, I think that's the first one in English. I think. Yeah. Thanks for having me, though. Thanks for having me, Igor.
Yes, of course. And Gustavo, welcome back.
Thanks, Igor. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, so today I want to talk about some of the challenges that both of you guys and in general international student athletes face when they come here to the US. Um, and I'm going to ask you guys to share one in sports, one challenge that you guys faced in sports, but also in life in general. Um, and I mean, I think everyone here comes from a different background. We are all from Brazil, but I think we come from a different background. Uh, I I went to three different schools. You guys, Ricardo has a little bit of more experience than us, but Gustavo also went back and forth, and I think we have a lot of experience and credibility to talk about those things. I think we see life from the same point of view for some things, but we see life from a different point of view for other things as well. So I think this is going to be a good talk. So to start, I want to know what's what was the biggest challenge that you guys faced uh, playing here in the US in terms of sports when it comes to athletics.
Right.
I can go first.
All right.
Is
Okay.
that okay, Ricardo?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Focusing in sports, like the first part of the question, I would say it's like the different culture in sports, and it's not in a bad way. It's just different, and I think the perspective of playing with people in a lower income in Brazil, where the sport is a way out for them to they have a better life. It's different. They come into college here, even though with more resources overall, for people that already have like a okay life, and of course they want to achieve great things in sport, but that's not like it's not life changer like for them. And I think that's something I'm not going to develop as much, but you guys can add and ask questions too, so we can develop in this conversation. But I think that's the biggest difference. Like in some is it's like this cultural difference where back home people see that as a job from very young, and here there's a mixture of people that see as having fun, that people see as a way to achieve what they want to achieve, people see as a way to get money from scholarship, and people see in many different ways the sport in the US. And then for me, it was a big challenge to adapt and like understand different points of view in a season. Uh, for example, some people probably in a team of 18 or 20 that sometimes they have this roster here. Some people are not gonna play ever during 3 4 months during 30 games during the season. But they are there because they want to be parts of the volleyball team. They want to have the gear. They want to have the experience of being an athlete and grow. Maybe they're going to be better working groups and like doing those things in their job in the future, and that's their goal. It's not give their life in every single practice. And like back home, I came with a perspective that um, like your life depends on it, and you gotta play your best every single day, and like maybe not care about how you're feeling or like how much that's gonna affect you. You need to perform as much as you can, and that was something that was hard for me. Now it's a little bit easier to understand that and like overcome.
Mhm. So,
Mm.
and I don't want to compare the two cultures and say that one is better than the other because, of course, we're going to be biased in a way.
Hmm.
But we got to a point when you guys were playing at Lords that all the main guys they came from the culture that we are used to, where we play for for money, where we play, as a job and
Hmm.
not as only to have fun, right? We had you, we had Ricardo play, and then we had Jeff that it was extremely talented and he understood what was about. He was there to win, and we also had Enrique. So all the main guys came from a culture where the sport itself was taken, I wouldn't say more serious, but as a job. Do you guys think that that's why you guys became successful?
Let me. Well, first of all, I was gonna my challenge in sports here in the U.S. I actually wrote down the same thing. I said differences in sports culture.
Hmm.
Um, Circling back to what Guga said in terms of um, coming here and having to face a different scenario, I 100% agree on that, and I can build on that a little bit more because the quicker you adapt, I believe that the quicker you fit in and you find the sense of belonging that I think everyone does when goes to a different place, different country, even like a different city in your home country. Um, when Igor brings up our volleyball team at Lord's University, we got the chance to win a few conferences, um, and I would attribute that to really just the winning culture that we had. I think we got used to winning very very early in our class. So when I was in my first year at Lords, we already were pretty dominant um in our conference, and then as we became sophomores, juniors, and seniors, I think we just had the same mentality, and we were all really focused and directed into doing everything right. And it wasn't really it was I don't think Google can add on that later, but I don't think it was necessarily directed to winning itself, but when we had the chance to do the right things, especially in practice and workouts, we just used to do that. And I I'm not sure if that's because we were from a different background, if we were necessarily internationals, or if that was something that was really rooted in our program. So if Google can add a little bit more about it, he can
Yeah,
definitely contribute.
I mean, I think the different backgrounds was something that was good and bad, because I think in a perfect world, like whoever's in here has something to add to us. Because like I feel that in the US, people try to, in college especially, people that are motivated and of course care about things. They grow as a whole. They grow in their personal lives. They grow in their sports. They grow like as a whole to become better, and like either to getting a job in the future, either to become a professional athlete, you become more capable. And I think a lot of people that come from our background, I can say more from Brazil, they want to play no matter what, and they want to be good at their parts of their lives. And if that part harms everything else, we are okay with that, which is also wrong. Like you can balance out, you can be good at school, you can be good at pursuing a job, and you like the sports aspect doesn't need to harm that. And going back to what happened at Lords, I think that being successful, it was good in our in my first year and my second year, we had this mindset with that group. But like in the other years, when we had a more split scenario, where like two or three people care about winning and wanted to treat that as their jobs, and like the other parts of the group did not, that caused conflict. So I don't know if it was like Ricardo said, if it was like a thing on the program that came from the program, or if it came from other people. But I think the conflict is that both sides have like to learn with each other. um and like I want to emphasize that there's no right or wrong. Like it's whatever your leader and like the group decides is the routes that they want to pursue. That's the right thing for that group. And like in a perfect world, both sides learn from each other. And then I can bring that up to discussion. Like for example, in the last year, like some people wanted to practice really hard, and some people were okay, like having fun and like not having this mindset. And that's for the group is the worst thing that can happen, because then people that get there early and want to do extra get mad with the people that don't, and the people that don't think that those guys that are doing extra and calling them out for not doing are assholes, and like and are not good people. So I think that's the worst case scenario.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and it's pretty interesting how I mean we all have the chance to play 4 or 5 years in the college scenario here, and it's pretty interesting how in 2 years the culture of a program can completely change, and how as the seniors graduate and like the new guys kind of step up, um, everything becomes also almost, you can pretty much recognize what it was compared to 2 years ago, and I mean that's a, I find it pretty interesting. I find it very interesting to face because um, coming from a different place, and like you understand, you think you're gonna find a program and really belong to that for 4 years, but in reality you're gonna be able to really um, kind of either build on that or just make part of a program that changes, and like work with different people and different backgrounds that, like we said. And so I find it pretty interesting how 2 years, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it really is to completely change a scenario of culture.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of there are around 1 million international students in the U.S. almost every year, um, and I'm sure that I don't know, almost everyone faced that challenge when it comes to culture. That's something that I faced as well, and it was something that used to drive me crazy in the beginning. Um, where I'm at today, um, a lot of the people are international, so we actually don't have that problem. But I feel like if it was 50-50, we would probably face the same challenge that you guys were talking about. So, what do you guys what's the advice for international students that are coming here, maybe as a freshman, or they're just going to a new program where the culture is different? Um, what would you guys advise them to do? What could they do in order to deal with the difference? Uh, what are some things that you guys can say for these people that are listening to us?
I can go first if you want, Buga. So for me, it's just be flexible, be open-minded. You're already going to a different country, so things are gonna be different. From what you eat to how people say hello, literally. So, um, of course, that we've been doing things in our entire life, especially in sports. I know you come from a different country too, and they seem pretty black and white. You think that, oh, this is the way I did for 10 years, so this is the right way to do it. But in reality, things are different in different places, and and yeah, sports is a lot based on results, but these results can come in so many different ways that the ways that people do it overseas or in the US, or I don't know, in Brazil, um, can be just as effective. So yeah, just be open minded. Um, um, be ready to change, and I mean, you can learn a lot from a different sports culture, and you can also teach a lot from your own, using your own sports culture. So just be ready to make the exchange. I think it's the most valuable thing that you can do it. You can have.
Yeah, and if I could build on that, like of course the open-minded it's the main point, and like if I could put in an analogy, it's more like you're gonna bring something to the table. People here are gonna bring something to the table. The coach is gonna bring a lot to the table, and in the end, like all that together is gonna build the team. And I really like the points that Ricardo made on like you're gonna influence someone, you're gonna teach, you're gonna learn, but you also can influence someone, and like maybe someone people here like your style and gonna feed into that, and they're gonna be like more more willing to do things that they weren't willing to do before for the sport. That's great. You influence them in a different way, and maybe you can learn things from here. Maybe how to be more responsible about a few other things that's going to make the team more structured and disciplined that sometimes we don't have back home. So I think this exchange and putting all together in the table is going to build like what they say the team. And of course, it's up to the culture of the program to shape that in a good way. But I think the advice would be like be ready to bring something to the table, and like be ready to learn from what other people bring as well. And I think just adding something more to that would be like we come to with 18, 19 years old to the US, right? So like everything that we learned from our past was told to us by older people, older players, older coaches, and that's the way it is. So like you gotta follow that. But when you step in here, you are like 20, 21, 22. You are not more in that stage of like everything that is told to you needs to be. We need to close your eyes and follow. You can add something. You can like have a discussion and be able to get somewhere with other people and also teach. Like Ricardo said, you're gonna teach other people to behave in the right way once you become a senior or something like that. So I think the age plays a big factor on that. Like you come back home, you think things work in a certain way. You are the youngest in the group, so you are told to do things that way. And then you come here, you get older and older, and then you are able to also influence and teach something that you were not able to do before.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah. And I think I don't know how it is for volleyball, but especially for soccer, um, whoever comes here, we come to the idea that we are better than them because the US is not really good at soccer. So we think that our culture it's better because Brazil has 5 World Cups and the US doesn't even know what soccer is and stuff like that. So we think that our way to think is the correct way. But I think imposing that idea, imposing our culture that like, oh no, you have to go to win, you are not here to have fun. Uh, I don't think that's a good way to teach people about our culture. If we want to show them something that might be valuable to them, that might be useful to them in the team setting, I think doing by example, showing them and talking to them and understanding that like maybe I'm here because I as a job, but maybe they are here because they want to have fun. And I think for us, we come to another country and then we want to show them that we are better than them. I think we have to be humble sometimes. Sometimes we don't have to be humble. Sometimes we have to come and kind of dominate in a way. But I think trying to be humble and understanding, being open minded, and be able to adapt. I think those things are definitely a good way to deal with that difference in the culture that we have.
Mhm.
Um, Go ahead, Gustavo.
No, no. I was about to say that I agree. It's always gonna be like in the team setting because like yeah, you can be have a good mindset and come here and no one will agree with you, so you're gonna be by yourself. And then in which way like you're gonna win a soccer game by yourself, you're gonna win a volleyball game by yourself. It's pretty hard. And like
Yep.
win 30 games by yourself, that's even harder. So
Yeah.
like if you find a way to balance that and like add something and contribute to the team, like it's probably gonna be way better than trying to be like to be one way all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree with that. I think it just hurts you as an individual if you're just close minded and you try to impose, like Igor said. And to be honest, I think it's just kind of a not that you're wasting your opportunity to. I think it's pretty much like you're trying to like this imposure. You're just pretty much just wasting an opportunity to learn. Like it's you don't have to agree with it. Like you don't necessarily need to change your work culture and and change like the way I don't know you practice, but I think it's an opportunity at least for you to sometimes. I mean, sometimes in sports, it is nice to have fun. Like it does bring like a it's a better vibe for you to practice, especially if it's like it's a heavy week of training and I don't know. There's an important game in the weekend. Um, um, I mean, having fun, of course, is important. It's important. It reminds me of why you are there. So yeah, I think it's definitely an opportunity that you don't want to waste. Just hearing other cultures and see the way they do things.
Yeah. Um, and outside the sport, we face other different challenges. I think we all face different challenges as different people. And when I since I came here to Louisiana, I met other people that they faced way different challenges that we had at Lords. So what are some of the challenges that you guys faced outside the sport? Maybe in school, maybe missing the family, financial. I don't know. What were the biggest challenges that you guys faced?
Ricardo, I think you should go first because
All
it
right,
might be the same again. So,
maybe, I don't
because
know.
we are in a similar stage, so it might be the same one.
All right. So for me, it's kind of funny, but when I so for one of my years here in the U.S., I was just working, and then I was involved with volleyball pretty much for my entire life. So um, I wasn't playing volleyball anymore, and like it pretty much, not that I wanted to cut the sport of my life, but it was just a necessity. I was like really dedicated to my work full time and had a pretty straightforward routine, and I didn't really feel the sense of belonging that I used to when I was playing at all. Um, I think that was my biggest challenge. I went to a different city too. I lived in Boston for a year, and the adaptation was pretty tough. It's pretty contrasting in a way because um, the places that I went for college, they were small cities and it was pretty cold. Boston is cold too, but um, I would say that there was nothing really compared to Boston in terms of things to do and like how the how things are different in a big city. But the place that I had the most amount of challenges was when I really, got a job, started my life, and went to a big city. So I think that's the biggest challenge that I had outside of sport. Um, Ironically, it was when I didn't have sports in my life, and now I am back because now I am a graduate assistant coach at Lawrence Tech University. So I do feel this sense of belonging again, and I know that I'm probably going to lose that once again. But from my learning experience and things that I talked to my friends and my therapist was that I do need to have things that I like to do, that I enjoy to do, other than volleyball. And sometimes all the time and dedication that we put into sports, um, they kind of overshadow all the other things that we like to do, and we don't really know something else that we enjoy doing. Um, so it was a pretty interesting challenge. I think I grew a lot as a person, and that was my answer for it, man. That's
Yeah.
all I got. Yeah.
No, but I think I relate to that before Gustavo goes. When I came here, so I was in Kansas, and I had really good friends there, but I also was dating a girl back then, and then we moved to Ohio, and when I had my girlfriend, I also had you guys, and I think it was because we were close and we always together. It wasn't like 20 Brazilians; it was just like 6 or 7. We always cook together, always do stuff together, and I think that helped me a lot. And when I got here, there was no that, right? So my classes were online. I stayed in my room 24/7. I didn't have a car to go anywhere else. I wasn't playing, so that sense of belonging, I didn't even know
Hmm.
what belong means, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I relate to that, and I think we always gonna go through those times to a certain extent when we are away from home, right? And I love what you said, Ricardo, about finding something that you like to do outside the sport, because I mean, we wish that we play the sport that we like forever, but we won't. Um, and I think it's just about time for us to to learn about ourselves, and find other things to do as well, to kind of find something else that we can do. I think that's good for the mind, and it help us go through that phase.
And if that's not mine, but like if I could add something to what you guys said, like I felt you, and like in my experience, like it was more when I had the hip surgery that I could not play volleyball. So like it's kind of similar scenario of like, oh, like you were known for being that person that plays volleyball, and you were like Gustavo from volleyball, like that's your friends, that what you do, that's what you do to have fun. And then when you don't have that, you kind of lose that identity, and then you try to do new things. And of course, like you're not gonna be as good as you are at your home sport that you practice your whole life. And then there are 1,000 other communities out there. Like either is like soccer, either is like I don't know, dancing, something that you like. And if you're open to like do those different things and know different people, because I think that's that's what's gonna matter. Like, are you open to know different people, be better at something, learn with that? And if you are, like, you're probably gonna be able to find joy in different things. But it's just a hard thing to do because you're always doing the stuff that you're comfortable with. So it's a good learning experience too.
Yeah.
Mm.
And what was your biggest challenge, Gustavo, outside sports?
I mean, for me, especially in the moments that I'm in my life right now, and that's something that it's good to know, I think, as an international student, because like all of like you that are international are listening to that, and it's good for people from here to know. It's like how hard it is to get a job. And
Yeah.
that's my biggest challenge right now, especially in the position that I am, because I graduate in December. And then if I want to stay here, like I need to have a job, and that's like a lot of pressure. Um, but I think the biggest part of the challenge is like uncertainty, because if you don't have a job, you gotta go home, and that's like, of course, scary if you have a life here. Um, and then why I say it's harder, like explaining to everyone, is because like in order to work here, you gotta work specifically in the area of your major, and like depending on your major, like your job has to be a job that requests you to be qualified to work there, and then you compete to other qualified people that are not international, that won't need a visa in the future, and then that's always in the back of your head, like, am I not qualified enough, or my application is just not being seen because I'm not gonna need sponsorship in the future? And like those kind of things, like even a culture thing, maybe the boss prefers someone from here, which is totally fair. Like he doesn't need to hire like someone that is not from here and maybe not gonna stay. So I think that's the biggest challenge, and like um not we can talk about overcoming later. I don't know if you guys have some inputs there, but like my strategy, I can share my strategy of overcoming after you guys have your inputs on that. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think uncertainty it's something that
Mm.
I don't know. I think I face that every day, but sometimes some days just hits harder, and right, like there's not much you can do besides just wait until tomorrow to see what happens.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think let's talk about how to overcome those things
Mhm.
because I'm really interested if I can apply that to my life.
Mhm.
But I think there's everyone um, have different ways to deal with that. But I think as an international student, once you about to graduate, you don't know what to do. Sometimes you want to stay here, but it's not as easy as it seems, and you have to to wait and give it time and try to control the anxiety that we might have. So yeah, go ahead, Gustavo, and share what you have.
So for me, the way to overcome it's very clear, and like some people can see as a challenge. I think I try to see more as an opportunity. So like if you are an international student and you have the same qualification as someone that is not, you're not gonna get the job. That's the way you should have in your mind. So what does that, like, you can see that, oh, life is unfair and like I'm not gonna get the job and that's it. Or you can see like, oh, so here I have an opportunity. So to get that job, I need to qualify myself more. I need to be more on top of my things. I need to do everything better than I can. Maybe I can add different skills to that job position that makes me different. And either it's like a skill that is not in the job requirement. It's like a emotional intelligence thing that you are better dealing with people than other candidates. So I see as an opportunity to qualify yourself more, and like if you do that and you still don't get it, at least you know that you try really hard. You were not there complaining about it. So I think that's the way, seeing an opportunity to be better. Like for some reason it's harder for you and you need to do more to get it. And I think that's, people do better when they're pushed to do things. So like that's an opportunity for you to invest in yourself and be even better. And I think I'm not there yet, so I don't know if that's gonna be the answer, but I'm pretty sure like after achieving that, you're gonna be very accomplished. I feel.
Yeah, I think bringing so that's something that I talked to my therapist a long time ago. It's like bringing our thoughts to reality. and then going from there, because we overthink things too much, right? So we think that the world is unfair, the US is this, the immigration sucks, and blah blah blah. But I mean, I think we have to bring it to reality that okay, it is harder. I'm not gonna get the job as an international if there's someone that is just as qualified as me. So the only thing I can do is to be better, to improve myself, and that's it, right? So it's up to you to waste the energy that you have complaining and not even necessarily complaining, but just like feeling sad and feeling sorry for yourself, or and putting that energy towards something else that will make you an outlier. So yeah, what about you, Ricardo?
Yeah, I struggle a lot with these type of scenarios too. I I don't know if I have like a recipe for it, and I don't really know like when I have to face these scenarios. I don't know if I have like a step by step that I always follow, because to be honest, I do struggle with that a lot too.
but
Because
but
I do
you,
think in the future. Yeah, what's up?
no, because you, when you graduated and you found the job, right, it wasn't something fast, right? So what were you doing back then? Were you just applying for jobs as much as you could?
So I kind of was trying to look. I was looking for jobs that really line up with my skills, and one of them is pretty natural for us. It's a job that required our language that we speak in Brazil, Portuguese. So I got fortunate to find it. I think there's also credit for my resume and like and every all the skills that I learned throughout my college career. But before that, and even after I got the job, it's not that the problem is solved. Like after you get the job, you need to find a place to stay and buy the ticket and everything else. So and like figure out how you're gonna get to your job, if you need a car, if there's public transportation, wherever you're gonna live. So so I don't know. All I can say, actually, I mean, like I said, I do struggle with that a lot too. Um, I like I like the thought process of thinking that we just need to live the present, and not that I'm good at that, but I think that's the best way to kind of put these things
Yeah.
on paper. And what Gustavo said, it's true. I think you should do your best to really boost up your resume as much as you can, because at least you're not gonna stay with the feeling that you regret, because instead of, I don't know, trying to learn some extra skills, you didn't really put too much effort, and in the end of the day, you know it's going to be your fault.
Mhm.
Um, but but yeah, the other thing that I wanted to say too is that um, even if you don't really reach your goal, if you don't get a job, or if you have to go back home, and it's not what you want, because going back home with the experience you acquired here, it's it's very it's a pretty big differential as well. So in the end of the day, if you don't really reach your goal, it's really not the end of the world. Like we we're just recently we just recently finished college, and there's so much to live in front of us that we have just no idea. Like we don't know how things are going to be in 2 years. You might get a new job here, or at home in Brazil, or even in different countries. So so again, building up on what Guga said, just try to make the best of what you can today, professionally and also personally, because if you do it right, there are things definitely waiting for you um, in a short term future.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me is like there's, again, I agree with you 100%. There's nothing wrong with not achieving your primary goal that you had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think the biggest thing for me is like the mindset that you get from not achieving your goal, right? So one thing is you going home saying like, "Look, I did everything I could. It didn't work out, and even though I'm not happy about it, I'm okay with that."
Mm-hmm.
But another mindset is going home like, ah man, it sucks. It's too hard. I couldn't find anything. They don't care about internationals. Everything is harder for us. Blah blah blah. So I think that's the main thing for me, right? So like, if you go home with that mindset, then I think there's something wrong with you in a way,
Exactly. Exactly.
and and you're gonna have problems later on, no matter where you are, right? You can be in Brazil, you can be in Spain, you can be in Europe, in the US, in Dubai. You're always gonna find a problem. Everything is gonna be hard, right? There is just confirmation bias, right? Our brain is gonna find excuses to make sure that what we were thinking is true. So
Hmm.
No, exactly. Yeah, I 100% agree. Um, like you said, it's pretty much. I was gonna just say it. It's pretty much excuses,
mhm,
and the things that you really didn't achieve are, yeah. I mean, that's what I was gonna add. It's
mhm,
just you in the end of the day, you know that. I mean, everything is, you're the one that's kind of building all your future. So in the end of the day, if you didn't get it, it's meant to be. But at the same time, the things you did in the past kind of build up for that. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
if I could add to that, it would be like just like who is gonna be the responsible for for you going home or not. Like you can spend your time blaming everyone else, but like it's easier if you take ownership that it's your fault or your responsibility. And after you take ownership of that it's your responsibility, you can choose to try to change that or try to do something different. But if you blame the world, like there's nothing you can do because it's not your fault. It's something else. So what else can you do besides accept that?
yeah, it sounds like you read Extreme Ownership. Um, okay, so my last thing that I wanted you guys to reflect on it, and I'll try to reflect while you guys are talking because I don't know the answer for it. Um, what's the biggest difference um, on yourself the first day you got to the US as a freshman to nowadays? What's the difference in terms of your mindset? What are some things that you learned throughout the process? Just anything that you can share with people that, I don't know, it might be useful to someone listening to us.
Do you
I
go
can go
first?
for
All right. All right.
okay, I'll go. Then it's kind of not plain question, so I might change my answer in a few minutes. But the only thing that I can think right now, and I think we talked in the podcast before, it's I could say it's being way more open-minded to different things, and that I think Strix relates to the emotional intelligence of being in a different environment. Because if you put the 18, 19 years old that came to the US to in Spain right now or in Italy, it's gonna be finding problems in the beginning and struggling until to get where I am right now. And if you put myself there right now, I'm pretty sure after a week or two, I'm gonna see the benefits. I'm gonna start learning since day one. I'm gonna try to understand the way people think there, try to add something from myself to people that I ended up meeting over there, and it's gonna be a learning experience since day one. It's not gonna have like any conflict of ideas. Of course, if I go to a place that is totally different from what I believe, it's gonna be a little harder. But like in a normal situation of places in the world, I think it's gonna be a learning experience since day one. And I think it goes back to being way more open-minded to learn from different people and being confident enough to know that's the way I believe. That's what I think it's right to be done. That those are my beliefs. But like those are the beliefs from the people here from and like different people there are gonna have different beliefs here. I can learn from that, but I don't need to change who I am. I can become better, but I don't need to give up anything that I already have. So for sure, being more open minded is the biggest difference.
That's pretty good too. So the one that I thought about was just um able to deal with challenges like I feel like I'm a little bit better, at least. I hope I'm a lot better, but I feel like I'm a little bit better. And I talk a lot about like roller coaster of emotions, like when I'm with my players and stuff. And I think it's very important for us to try to stay on um, on a straight line as much as possible. And I think that can be applied to kind of the things that I learned as well. You know, when we face a challenge, sometimes we freak out too much. We get too stressed out about something, and in the end of the day, we're just overthinking, like we already talked about it over here. But instead of going up and down and all the challenges, and you know, like really freaking out with things that show up in the during our journey, I think being able to understand that sometimes things are not that big of a deal. And I think also with the years that you're here and seeing a lot of things and really just going through a lot of difficulties, you understand that um, sometimes there's just bigger problems in life, and I don't know, maybe not playing, it's not the biggest of the problem. Sometimes it is, but others it's just kind of a one extra step on the journey. So I would say that just being able to deal with challenges along my way, I think I got better, and it's also been a while since I got here. So I think I got pretty I got a lot more mature as a person too, not only as a student, as an international student, but also as a person, because I guess I got also different types of life experience that I got the chance to learn from. So I think that's what really brought me here now, and that's the main difference that I see for
Mhm.
myself.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think if I had to answer that, I would just combine a little bit of what you guys said. Um, I think coming here, I thought I was ready. But when I got here, I was facing challenges and I saw like, okay, maybe I'm not ready. Um, so I definitely grew a lot in the process. My mind changed. I think even the discipline that I had back home, I feel like I was extremely disciplined person, but my discipline changed in a way. I think now I question a lot of things like, okay, why am I doing that? Am I doing that because it's beneficial to me, or is because someone said that I shouldn't be doing it? Right. So I think being able to kind of have more self awareness in a way and reflect more on my actions. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's so many. I feel like I'm a different person in a way.
Mhm.
Um, but well, that's it that I have for today. I think was really helpful for everyone that was listening to us. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me. Um, Again, I'm sure we're gonna have some other episodes. I feel like this is really helpful for myself and for others listening to us as well. So
Mhm. I think I think it's really nice if there's one takeaway, like key takeaway that I could say is like don't feel sorry for being like international student. Like it's an opportunity to grow more than we would have back home probably. So use the best you can to improve yourself. And again, those are our challenges. Probably other people have a different perspective and other challenges too. So, and there's no right or wrong. Like maybe the way we do it's not gonna work for everyone else, and maybe we will help like a lot of people. So I think there's no right or wrong. So thanks for having it. Was a great conversation. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, Igor, thank you so much for
Mm,
having me. And also, if I had a last opportunity to leave a message, is really find your drive, you know, like understand why you're coming here. Like if you're coming for a specific course, a specific major, or even for playing, I think if you really come with the drive, with you know the will of playing or studying, you're gonna find that sense of belonging that we talked about in the beginning really quickly, and you're gonna get to enjoy the ride as much as you can. So once again, uh, thank you guys so much for
yeah.
having me.
My last takeaway, something that Guga always said when we were together is like, let's go there and have the full experience. Uh, and I think when people are coming here, they should have the full experience. Was something that I had a hard time with. but Guga said like, "Oh no, let's go play soccer barefoot." I was like,
Yeah,
crazy. Like, no, let's have the full experience. So
Yeah,
let's have the full experience.
that can be understood in so many different ways, though. Gotta be careful.
I mean, I know you said that as an excuse, but try to take that as a good thing. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank
all
you.
right.
Bye bye.
See you guys.